Hi, my name is Emily Ionelli. I'm male to female transgender. I also struggle with bipolar disorder. And I just want to say it's good to be back home after spending 2 weeks in the hospital. I was going through a very difficult time, but I'm doing better. I don't heal dramatically. Healing for someone who has bipolar disorder, as well as whose struggles with gender dysphoria, is lifelong. I go to the hospital frequently because of my emotional state of mind, whether I'm admitted or just seen by the attending psychiatrist and a follow-up doctor. However, this time, due to what I did in a failed attempt at suicide, I was admitted to Nassau University Medical Center, where I was given medication that is consistent with what I'm taking now, and I was treated with respect. I did have some instances where I was bullied, but that was rectified. The only thing was I still had to stay on the men's wing, and I was a little upset about that. But I did have my own private room, so I didn't have any roommates. The food was good. I gained weight, which I'm a little upset about because I'm very weight conscious, but I guess it's not bad overall. I guess I have to get over that obsession with my weight. It is what it is. And I'm just trying to stay peaceful and not get upset. I think I focus too much on what's going on in the government. I never got that involved or absorbed with the government until this administration, because when Obama was our president, he wasn't controversial. I mean, he had some issues, I guess, that I was unaware of, but I didn't see him as a bad leader. In fact, I think he was a great president. But with Trump, all I see is a disaster, and someone who wants to be vindictive and completely undo what Obama did and just go back in time with his controversial decisions. And or I don't understand it, but I can't sacrifice my life over a billionaire president who doesn't care about people. I have to be stronger than that. I still wear this to remind me that it's not cool. It's not cool to try to hurt yourself. It's not cool. Depression and going through transition and being mentally ill doesn't mean you have to threaten or attempt suicide. Suicide is not cool, by no means. Basically, you just have to find a proper outlet. Um, I do admit, though, that I am quite isolated. I can't work anymore due to my bipolar disorder. You know, to be honest, I don't really miss working, but when I was working, it was something that I just had to do. I had to make a living. So I worked, I studied in college, and then I worked in a career for 35 years to obviously provide for my family and save for retirement. But then the rug was pulled out from under me when I lost my job and almost lost my house and started having all these mental problems that exacerbated with communications with the mortgage company saying that if I don't pay by a certain date, I may be foreclosed upon. And I got into arguments and I threatened suicide, and the police were at my house, and I was brought to the hospital. On some occasions, I was in the hospital for 2 to 3 weeks. On other occasions, I just went there and spoke to a psychiatrist and was released. But I've had many incidents where I've become unhinged and I just lose it and I threaten suicide. And once you do that, you are automatically um, the person involved in the conversation is automatically required to get in touch with the law enforcement for the well-being of the individual threatening suicide. So I've had many visits with police at my house, and they've come and taken me to the hospital. This last incident involved my struggling with my recent nephew's suicide. I was very depressed. I was thinking about my nephew. And I was also very upset about a timeshare that I got trapped into, and I wasted $40,000, which I could have used for my house. And I can't recover that $40,000 that I wasted on a timeshare that we never used in Williamsburg, Virginia. Plus, we couldn't use it anyway because they wouldn't give us a reasonable date. They gave us a date in December. So within a week after we came home from that timeshare, I called to cancel it and they said I couldn't. So I was stuck paying $40,000 on a mortgage. So I called finally to get out of the mortgage, and I had got very upset on the phone, and I threatened suicide, and I was taken to the hospital. And that was a time where I got to talk to the psychiatrist who I have seen on other occasions. And after he heard what happened, he let me go home. But I got all the paperwork now to release me of the timeshare. I was able to get the amount in maintenance fees that they put into collections off my credit bureau report, which had a tremendous effect on my credit score, launching me into an excellent score, which is really helping my credit now, which I'm excited about. But now with our president, I'm very nervous because I depend on my Social Security disability, and I depend on my long-term disability and my long-term disability with the AICPA only pays out till December of 2036. I'm sorry, I wish it was 2036. It only pays out till December of 2026. Big difference. And I'm relying that my Social Security disability will pay out for the remainder of my life, and also for my son who's autistic. But I don't know what the Republicans and Trump are going to do. So I am very panicky, fearing that if I lose my Social Security disability, or even if it's cut, it's going to affect my ability to pay off my mortgage, which I wanted to pay off sooner, depending that my disabilities both are intact. And that's when I freaked out on the phone with the suicide hotline, because I was dealing with my nephew's recent suicide, and I was dealing with the timeshare issue, and I was dealing with Trump with the possible scenario of cutting Social Security disability, and it all compiled, manifested, and I went and grabbed a knife, and I told the operator, the girl, that I had a knife in my hands, I mean, and that I was starting to slice into my arm or vein. And when I said that, she immediately had police dispatched to the house. I did puncture my skin. I started to bleed. And as soon as the police came and saw I had a knife, they had to wrestle me down, while the EMT had to put a shot in my butt to sedate me. And I was taken to the hospital, where I spent 2 weeks. Um, and I was very depressed, but I had a nurse there who was very special to me, and she actually bought me a dress and a movie, and she took care of me because she felt sorry that I had no visitors, I had no clothes, and she came to my assistance. So, and she even gave me time to use my cell phone. We worked out an arrangement where I could get some time for my cell phone use. So she really did help me out quite a bit. And I was very grateful to her. And I felt like, life can be hard. I lost my parents to suicide, and recently my nephew and a first cousin also. So I know that it's painful, but I have a son who needs me in his life, and I need to be strong emotionally. And I do want to continue with my transition from male to female. And I'm, wanting to do the surgery. But I just want to feel like I'm at peace, like things are so unsettled right now. And I'm getting too obsessed with what's going on in Washington, D.C., that I am very emotionally affected. Actually, I've been this way ever since Hillary lost the election. I was rooting for Hillary. First I was a Bernie Sanders fan, and then I put my allegiance towards Hillary, and I thought she was going to win. And then the stunner of all stunners was the most worst case scenario we could ever have imagined, that Donald Trump won the election, and since day one it's been nothing but a disaster. And I watch CNN, and every day it's only about Donald Trump, and it's unhealthy. And when you hear these things he plans to do in these cuts, making massive cuts to the poor, the elderly, the disabled, women, children's health insurance, and making massive tax breaks for the wealthy, it just makes me so angry. And now this recent issue with the firing of James Comey, and now with the Paris Accords, him pulling out, resulting in a divided country where a lot of governors are now joining alliances to participate still as members of the United States in the Paris Accords because they believe in it. So our president doesn't believe in it, but we have governors, and Andrew Cuomo is one of them. And the California governor and the governor in Washington State, they're all joining alliances, which is good. And all the business moguls are very upset what Donald Trump did, and he just seems to do these crazy choices on spite, and I just don't understand it. Everybody knows he's a narcissist. It's not that hard to figure that out, and everybody knows that he's out to get revenge. Now I heard stories that he's going to maybe execute presidential privilege to quash James Comey for even testifying, which I think is an outrage. And that only makes it worse because that means he truly is hiding something. And the thing that really bothers me is that there are people that still defend him, knowing that he's doing so many bad things for people in general, especially the poor, the needy, the elderly, the middle class, the disabled, the children with cutbacks in Medicaid and health insurance, and for women who now have no control in the decision making with their bodies. And I just find this outrageous. But I'm back home, happy to be home, and still isolated, but I'm used to it already. And I will do my best. I will try to stay out of trouble, meaning no more suicide attempts, no more threats of suicide, staying out of the hospital, only other than surgery. I guess that's it for now. Thanks for listening.